the end of the year is an exciting time for a lot of people for many different reasons. I mean, we have on the consumer side the idea that we're coming into Black Friday and Thanksgiving and Christmas and the end of the year, and all the gift purchasing and all the consumerism that happens at the end of the year, and that's exciting from a consumer standpoint. It's also a very exciting time of the year for most retailers because a lot of traditional retailers, especially brick and mortar, do a lot of their sales at the end of the year. In fact, traditionally, a lot of them will lose money 8-9 months of the year and really make up the entire income statement at the tail end of the year when you get these holiday rushes. And when we think about that, the traditional image at least is bustling department stores and bustling stores and bustling shopping districts. And while that's probably still going to be the case this year, it's a very fascinating time to think of what it all means from a talent standpoint. I mean, we've seen really everywhere that retailers are struggling at the moment to attract the kind of volume of workers that they're going to need to fulfill traditional demand. And when you think of the last 18 months and we think of what most people are doing in terms of how much they've probably saved in the last 18 months, if that's on the table, the retail industry is expecting to hire, or it's expecting to need to hire 665,000 workers to fill, the seasonal demand coming up in the next 2-3 months. And that's up from 486,000 in 2020. So you can see the retail industry is really starting to anticipate, okay, this is going to be a big purchasing season. And it's forecasting out that it's going to need to do a lot of hiring. And so from an employer brand standpoint and an HR standpoint, looking at how different companies are approaching this, and even then to just think, what at the tail end of that equation, which is, are these companies going to be able to hire the kind of volume of workers that they're going to need to sustain demand, or at least service demand at the end of this year? So first, I think it'd be interesting to look at a few different companies, some of the bigger retail names that we know, and just to see kind of what they're doing and what demand looks like. So for one, Macy's is offering $500 referral bonuses for every employee or friend or family that somebody's able to bring in to come work the season. And in terms of volume, Macy's is looking to hire 76,000 full-time and part-time employees this season. The 76,000 just on an aggregated basis is a lot of employees. Where are they going to go to find this is going to be interesting. Macy's, of course, is competing with a few different other retailers, which we'll explore in a minute. But when you think of Macy's, is that an attractive place to work? And what are they doing in terms of enticing workers? A few different things that they're trying are tuition reimbursement and different things like that. But the pendulum of power has swung so sharply, at least this seasonal, or at least when we think about the bubble or the capsule that is this season, swung so strongly in favor of employees. They can go and pick and choose which retailer they want to go work for, setting a negotiation or bargaining a game up against different retailers and choose, okay, who's going to pay me the most and where do I have to work the least? And that's really interesting to think about from an employer brand and a sustainability of a talent structure standpoint. So we explored Macy's there. Walmart, so you imagine Macy's will probably be competing directly with Walmart in terms of who they're trying to attract for the talent pool. Walmart's looking to add 150,000 workers this season. They've bumped their minimum wage up to $12 an hour. In some places, you're able to get $17 an hour to go work at Walmart. There's different perks at Walmart. Of course, you've got different management programs and things that are in place that are there to attract workers. But just on a seasonality basis, between Macy's and Walmart, we're looking at 225,000 workers that are going to be needed. Amazon, third kind of big retailer here, is looking to hire 150,000 workers for this upcoming season. And it's going to try and look to grow its permanent workforce by 125,000 workers. So now we're at 375,000 workers. Nordstrom is looking to add 28,000 workers this holiday season to service demand. We're looking at now 400,000 workers. So you can start to see how all of these companies are going to the market to try and fill the gap or fill what they're going to need in terms of workers to service the kind of purchasing demand that they're going to see. And if the last 12 or 18 months is anything to go by, it's going to be very, very fascinating to see where they get these workers. And if they can't get these workers, what does that mean for the shopping experience for everybody who's going to be rushing to the stores over the holidays to pick up gifts? And what if there aren't enough? What if there's enough inventory because people are, there's supply chain shortages and maybe there aren't enough people to service the demand in stores? It's you can just kind of see a picture forming here that looks a little bit chaotic, and it's going to be fascinating to watch. Another interesting just tidbit for the retail space is Best Buy is another big retailer. Of course, when you think of Black Friday, they typically have do quite significant amounts of volume. Then they've actually implemented video submission, so candidates or interested applicants don't even need to submit traditional kind of application materials, your resumes, your things like that. They just submit a video, and I think they're trying to remove the friction on both sides. So remove the friction from the applicant. How much easier can it get than just submitting a video about yourself? And then how much easier is it on the vetting side to just watch a video and get a real quick sense of what a candidate is like right away? I mean, that's almost like bypassing the applicant tracking system portion, the all of that portion, just going straight to interview, but making it quick. So you're starting to see the different retailers are trying different things. I think it's going to be a very hectic time. It's going to be a very desperate time, I think, as well for a lot of retailers. You're seeing, signing bonuses, wages are going up. It's an interesting segment of the market to look at, because it's a good proxy for what labor looks like in terms of shortage across the entire economy, but it's almost condensed all into a period where there's a very strong demand for a short amount of time. And whether companies have the employer brands to deal with this and attract the kind of volume of workers that they need is going to be another good proxy for how strong their employer brand is, in perpetuity. These companies that know that they need to rely on strong hiring at the end of the year, or very seasonal in terms of their hiring, we'll be able to see from an employer brand's perspective whether they've made the forward-looking investments in their employer brand over time, such that they become the place that this pool of workers, which I imagine is not 400,000 strong, 500,000 strong, just between these 5 companies that we outlined. Because if it was, we wouldn't see the labor shortage that we're seeing across the entire economy. If we'll be able to see which employers have the strongest employer brand and are the employer of choice for this limited pool of individuals. So interesting to think about, interesting to watch, especially as marketers and HR and employer brand practitioners going into the end of the year. And what do you think is going to happen? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments section below. And if you enjoyed this video, hopefully you can hit like and subscribe just so you can get all these updates as they come out.